Good evening, everybody. So today I posted a video showing my cats that I have, and I figured I would do a little thing about pet ownership. Now, granted, our cats are not like super pampered or anything. We just give them places to lay. Matter of fact, Butters is laying here right now. Um, so, what I wanted to talk about though was the amount of strays that end up around my neighborhood. Now, I don't live in the country, there's probably 20 feet between my house and the next house, like to the side, and then maybe 30 or 40 feet to the house there, and then there's a street between me and the house in the front, you know. But we're not in the city. We're not like in a city, and like right now, there's fireworks going off and everything. Now, ever since I was little, people dropped off animals out here because I grew up, pretty much on the same land that I live on right now. And, so we ended up with a lot of strays here and there. And sometimes my dad would just haul them off to another place. And I always hated that. Not just because, like, I wanted pets. Like, I would have taken in every stray that we got. I loved them. Because, like, when I was a kid, I loved dogs and cats, and that was all I could have, which is why, as an adult, I've had birds and fish and hamsters and mice and rats, and I'd have a ferret if my husband would let me get one, and if I wasn't worried about the smell and the price, and we're thinking about getting bunnies, all this stuff that I didn't get to have when I was a kid. But people would often drop off strays. And as an adult, when I was a kid, I didn't quite hate these people. But as an adult, I'm like, hey, you took an animal home. And then when it stopped being cute, you just toss it away. That's some fucked up shit to do to an animal. That's like getting rid of a baby because it's not a baby anymore, like, oh, well, he's no longer cute, he's 5, bye-bye, kiddo, you know, um, but I see it all the time. Dante, our cat outside, was a drop-off, and we had to trap him in a squirrel cage when we caught him, and he was difficult, and I have adopted difficult cats before. And the thing is like, you don't just get rid of them because they prove to be a little difficult. No. You took them in. Unless you can find somebody that can give them the care that they need, then they're your responsibility. It's just like your kid. I've got a kid that wears me out. Mentally wears me out. But I don't get rid of her. I just say, well, what can I do to make things better? How can I help her? How can well, it's the same with a dog or a cat. You say, well, what do I need to do? Perhaps I just need to give that animal some space. When it's a cat, you just give them space. Which was how it was with Dante. When we brought Dante in the house and he was a kitten, it was just like you had to throw a towel on him to handle him. But once you had a hold of him, he just kind of give up. But he was very feral when we got him. And, anytime I've gone to somebody's house to get an animal, I've straight up checked to see boy or girl. Because males, like if I'm going for like a big dog that's going to be outside, I have to factor in, can I get this dog fixed? This is when I'm going to like an independent person who's just got like some puppies. Can I afford to get a female fixed? If I can't afford to get a female fixed, then I'm going to say I need a male because it's going to be an outside dog. And if I don't want puppies, then I better not get a female. But this is why I would suggest, really just go to the animal shelter, pick up one that's nice, because it'll be spayed, neutered, shots, chip, all of that. But it'll cost you a little money. But I'll tell you what, if you can't afford $90 to adopt an animal, you really shouldn't be adopting an animal, because if you can't afford that $90, what are you going to do if something happens to them? You're just going to shoot them in the head. I mean, that's the thing, sometimes it's like people don't respect that animals are, if they're here, they're important. They have a brain, and in my opinion, they have a soul. They're as individual as human beings. So I don't like to see them just thrown away, just like I wouldn't want to see a person thrown away, just because they're not what you want, And there are places where female children are just not wanted. They're like, we don't want any girls, and it's like, well, but at least if they give them up to the orphanage, but still, I still don't think that you should throw something away just because it's inconvenient for you, as far as something that's already here. Because like I said, I know that on abortion, somebody would say, well, you say that, well, don't just get rid of something because it's inconvenient for you. Now, that's something that may or may not have ever happened anyway, but I'm talking about something that is here. So if you go to somebody's house to get a dog and all they have are females, and you don't want to get a dog fixed, or you feel like you ain't going to have the money to get a dog fixed, choose not to get the dog. Don't wait until she's like pregnant and then just dump her off on somebody else's doorstep. That's beyond horrible to do that to something, especially a dog. I mean, if you get a dog, keep the fucking dog, because dogs do not survive well on their own. They're not like cats. They can't really hunt for their dinner. They are completely dependent upon the kindness of humans. Cats can figure out stuff, but it's still mean because they're still going to sit there, they loved you and you just dumped them. So don't get dogs that you can't take care of. So first order of business is go to the shelter and pay to adopt one. That way, that, hey, if I can afford to adopt the dog, I can afford to pay for the dog. Just because it's free doesn't mean it's free, and just because it's free doesn't mean it's worthless.